on the stack because it does not exist a persistent layer. After we came up with that protocol and that stack, we needed to do some research on website design. We found that event-driven programming on the website end was probably the best option for us, which is why we chose Node.js. After that, we needed to tie all the loose ends together and make a fully functional website. Go to the next slide. We get a picture of the tech stack. So every 5 milliseconds, Carrie is posting a snapshot of the status to the user. Like we said, we wanted to give a real-time update, basically so the user could track the package and track Carrie in real time. With that, we use tools like Kafka and RethinkDB because they can scale horizontally and they can read and write messages, like millions of messages per second. To connect the backend and the front end together, we use Socket.io and Node.js and Google Maps. And these are the tools that we use for our project. A lot of the time was spent on the web layer, and probably the equal amount of time is spent on Kafka server. I'll give to Brian.
So at the top, you can see that we have a red dot, and then currently I believe when it goes back to the green, purple, and red dot, the green dot is sort of the starting location. Red dot would be the ending location. The purple dot is stats on its speed, time, and battery life. It'll also show a set of photos that are flashing by. The actual deployment when Carrie is going live, that's 20 frames per second in form of a video. It's difficult to push a real video up, but 20 frames per second will do when you're sitting at home and you want to see your packages. Currently, UPS and Amazon, FedEx, and all them don't offer that. So some of our challenges were tracking Carrie in real time. The biggest issue with that was if we pushed too many messages too fast, we lost Carrie. If we didn't push enough messages, we lost Carrie. If we pushed, just the right amount, we somehow lost Carrie. So we had to figure out where and why we were losing Carrie, how we were losing Carrie, and after spending the majority of the semester figuring that out, we finally got Carrie back. The next biggest issue was pushing data to the dashboard. If you push too much data at once, the ending location moved. If you didn't push enough, Carrie didn't move. So it was really like find the balance, find the perfect place for Carrie. And the last biggest issues were making the photos into objects. As you see, everything else there was text. Even the GPS coordinates, that's coming through as text, and we're just taking that text and placing it as a GPS coordinate. The images aren't text. We had to figure out a way to get the images to transfer with the text, which took us about a month and a half just to figure out. And lastly, the largest issue was we only had limited computers working with Linux. We had 2 computers running Linux. One was fairly slow, the other one was on a different flavor, and it added a bit of confusion whenever we transferred the project between both computers. So our future work is we'd like to add package tracking. Currently, you track a robot, a specific carrier. So if you order something, you're going to get package ID. So in the future, we'd like to be able to place your package ID in there instead of your robot and be able to track your package. And lastly, future generations of Carrie will have LiDAR, which is a way for robots to visually see the Earth around them. We would like to be able to place that LiDAR, what Carrie literally sees, on that web page. So some people we'd like to acknowledge are Stav Braun and Uriah Balk from Dispatch. And we'd also like to thank Dr. Miguel Lara for helping us a little bit with the front end here and there, and Dr. Satya Narayanan for helping put together this entire Capstone class. At this time, are there any questions?
I see great potential in addition to the robot. How small is the package? Can I put it on my dog?
So the question is how small is a package, or how large of a package could Carrie handle? Currently, Carrie can handle anything. Our device? The device is actually the data is being sent from Carrie within Carrie. There's multiple smaller devices. They have a current Intel box about yay big, sending all of its current information to their server, which we pull our data from.
Is Carrie keep food hot and cold?
Not yet.
Could I use the location tracking system to intercept Carrie before back to my house?
You could, however, Carrie does have a way to lock all packages within it until it's reached its destination. So even if you were to intercept Carrie, you would have to, wait for it to wait for it to get to its destination before it would allow you to open it up.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Cassandra Humphrey. I am a communication design major with an emphasis in visual design, and my capstone project was the Past Rebels Youth Arts Foundation print and web redesign. My advisor was Bobby Long, who's sitting over there. So just a brief overview about the foundation. They're located in Paso Robles, California, which is about 2 hours south of here. They are a 501c3 nonprofit, and they were founded in 2001 by Donna Bird. Another fun fact is I actually took classes here for the better part of a decade, and they offer free classes in the visual and performing arts to students ages 5 to 18. So this is a pretty important project to me. So at the beginning of the Capstone project, I contacted their executive director asking if they would like some design work, and she was very excited, and we got to work together, and she's actually here with us today, back there. So at our initial meeting, we came up with some goals, what PRIAF wanted to achieve, and how we were going to do that design-wise. So they had goals of education, promotion, and fundraising. They wanted to let the community know what they were able to provide. They wanted to promote their events and their productions, their shows, and also to fundraise to keep the organization up and running. So our solution was to create a refreshed logo, marketing materials in the same style, and a redesigned informational website. So there are several steps to the design process, with the first being research. I researched different organizations that provided similar services. And from there, we developed some sketches, and then that turned into developing the logo itself. So this is an example of their previous imagery and their previous font. And after all that development, this is what we came up with. So it has a bit more focus on the name. We did want to keep that imagery in there because it was very important to the organization itself. It was a mainstay for quite a while. But one thing that's really special about this design is the paint backgrounds you see here can later be updated with student work. So it changes and it stays really connected to the community and showcases what their students are working on while still keeping the same style. And that logo was applied to several marketing materials that you see here. So they had a stationery package, which included a letterhead, business card, and envelope, a brochure, a thank you card to send to their donors, a QR card, which is the small square you see here. On the back, it has a little QR code, so they can scan it and hand it out at different events, a graphic standards guide, which outlines the usage, so future designs will be made in the same style. And then we also have a couple examples of different applications with the logo can be used on. And these are some screenshots of the website. So it's fully responsive, which means it can be used on a computer, tablet, phone, or other mobile device, and it's usable no matter how you access it. It features the same paint background that you see on the other designs, and that can also be updated to showcase student work. It also has custom iconography, so all the icons you see on there, and at the bottom of the phone you can see but also on other pages. Those are all custom made for them and used in their other designs as well. The tools I used for this project included Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign, the Creative Cloud Suite. And then for the website, it was built on WordPress, and I used HTML5 and CSS3. Now, what I learned. So I learned a lot during this project, and it was really great. I learned how to use WordPress, which is really awesome. But one of the most important was time management. We were fortunate enough to stick to our original schedule and actually work ahead a lot of the time. So I think that really helped create this really successful project. The second one was effective communication. My client was 2 hours south the whole time during this project, so we communicated a lot through email, and it was really important to keep her informed and also involved in the process. And the third was print and web production, to not only create high-quality designs, but also make sure that it was usable later on so they can update it themselves without any issues. If you'd like to know more about my project, please visit my poster session in room 105, right next door. And if you'd like to learn more about the foundation, you can visit priaf.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Cassandra. The next is Smart Game Controller.
You got to
Oh.
big data.
Okay, is this the one?
This is the first.
Okay. Go ahead.
Hello, everybody. We are the Big Data Tools team, and our Capstone experience was to create a pathway for big data research at CCND, primarily using the Hadoop system. Our team consists of Matthew Wall, Tyler Jackson, Joshua Kim, and myself, Marcus Shaw.
All right, so according to IBM, 90% of the data that exists in the world today was created in the last 2 years. They predict that by the year 2020, we're going to have 45 zettabytes of data. But what is a zettabyte? Let's give it a little perspective. So for 1 gigabyte, it's equal to approximately 200 songs, 250 photos, or about 500 electronic books. We'll say that 1 gigabyte will fit into a cup of coffee. So if this is true, 1 cup of coffee is equal to a gigabyte. A zettabyte is equal to the volume of the Great Wall of China, which, if you don't know, is over 11,000 miles long. So that's a pretty big amount. But if we look back at our visual here, you see that there will be 45 zettabytes. So that will be the volume of 45 Great Walls of China by 20. So this creates a lot of challenges. First of all, where are we going to put all of this data? Second, is the quality any good? Is it data that we can actually use? Is it important? Is it in the format that we can use? So we also need people who can use the tools to manage the storage, who can maintain the quality. Yes, I can hold it. Okay, so I'll start this slide over again and try not to blast it out here. So the challenges that it creates is storage. Where are we going to put all of the data? The quality, is it good data? Are we going to be able to use it? You need people that can use the tools to manage the storage, who can maintain the quality, and who can create associations between these data points to make meaningful relationships out of it. So the purpose of our Capstone, in collaboration with the Naval Postgraduate School, was to create a research pathway for big data research. Through our own research, implementation, usage of data tools, and the documentation of this whole process, we hope to make it very easy for future students to be able to come in and start big data projects.
So to begin, we researched the Hadoop ecosystem. We learned about Hadoop using virtual machines provided by Cloudera and Udacity. We then installed the Apache Ambari stack on 4 computers in the BIP building. We created test applications on those computers, and then we documented everything on GitHub and using the tool Jekyll to create a website.
So for our solution design, we started initially with Amazon Web Services, but due to the budget constraints, we had to migrate to a local systems here at CSUMB. And so we started and we did the manual install of Hadoop. And well, that was kind of hard, so we had to look for different ways. And so we used Cloudera, but it wasn't as easy as Ambari, so we ended up using Ambari as our final product. And on the right, you can see this is the Ambari stack, and these make up the tools and the services that allow us to run a lot of the jobs on the cluster.
So these are some of the components that we had to work with. HDFS stands for the Hadoop file system, and it distributes files across the cluster computers for easy access. Yarn is something that runs MapReduce jobs, and MapReduce jobs are the way that you process data from the files that are in the Hadoop system. For us, we used Python to write the scripts for MapReduce jobs. And then we used Scoop, which takes data from a relational database and migrates it into the Hadoop file system. In our case, we used Oracle 12c, and we moved Twitter data from our database into HDFS, and that took the form of comma separated values, which Hadoop can then read.
Okay, so as a result, we have a 4-node cluster installed in the networking lab, and all of these servers have their own distributed role. And we're managing the data, we're manipulating the data from the database to the relational, to the Hadoop file system using Scoop. And we've also developed a lot of the applications to run a lot of the jobs, and we documented the results.
This is a screenshot of our website, which is a tutorial of everything that we did.
So, as we've mentioned, one of the keys was to help bring big data to CSUMB. We worked with Naval Postgraduate School. They wanted us to develop this cluster. And so for our future work, it's to enhance and provide an even better end user experience for students at CSUMB to get started with research in this area. So our future work, we want to simplify the installation process for students to pursue this research more quickly. The most difficult and challenging part was getting this whole system up and running. We want to simplify that for future students. We also want to install and provide guidelines, working with Dr. Glenn Bruns and Arjit Das, our mentor, on installing and purchasing a permanent Hadoop cluster, a big data research cluster for CSUMB. We also want to move forward. We want to analyze the metrics of different jobs that run on Hadoop so that we can assess performance indicators and see which of these tools are actually the most valuable. We also want to just, in that mindset of improving the student experience for future research projects, we want to build even more tutorials, documentation for these students. And so we want to acknowledge, first and foremost, Dr. Satya Narayanan for teaching this capstone class and helping us arrange the resources to get started with this project. We want to thank Kenneth in particular for allowing us to use the computers in the networking lab and helping us get set up on that end. We want to thank all of the computer science faculty that are here today and that have been teaching us for our whole time here at CSUMB. We want to thank our mentor, Arjit Das from the Naval Postgraduate School, for providing us expertise and guidance in this area. And we want to thank Google for teaching us everything that we did not know. And we also want to thank Apache Ambari for providing their awesome and superb documentation to us. So thank you very much. Are there any questions? Dr. Tal.
First one, commend you put down into a wonderful technical project of presentation. Really emphasize the message of not only the feature of computer design, also kind of give us a message that visualization of big data is important. My question to you is that how many nodes, how many servers make sense for our big data center we want to build?
It depends how much the school is willing to allocate. Make it as big as we can. Well, we can make it as big as we can, or run it off of like few machines, say 4 machines.
So with Apache Ambari, It is a very simplified process to add a new node, a new server at any time. It's just a GUI graphic interface. You can add these nodes, it installs all the tools you need. So we can start small and build up for the future. So thank you. Oh, size of the data? So we used what was that thing said? We used a small subset of Twitter data, which ended up being 2.5 million tweets. No, 250 million tweets in our data set to analyze, just kind of get a feel for the ecosystem.
We spent most of our time trying to get so that's why we really hope that these resources will be used and future students will be able to just jump in here and take off instead of spending a whole semester just trying to get started.
Any other questions?
How do you plan to set up are you going to be setting up VMs for them to install and run, or how are you planning to facilitate?
Well, it's kind of the case purpose to have an audience. We want actual physical machines. So
yeah, right now it's good.
yeah.
There are VMs, there are images out there right now from Cloudera and Udacity offer their own virtual machines. You can go in and use some of the tools like Scoop and transfer data between databases into the system. You can figure out how to use it. But we want to physically have servers here. Right now we have 4 PCs that are set up. So this is where we started. We would like to have some blades or servers that we could set up. Dr. Burns has suggested we have at least 8 machines to get going. So once we get that set up.
I think the last semester we have a student just putting the ticket on top of the resume with private idea and salary much higher, looking surprising to our fact. So make sure.
Thank you very much.
So thank you.
Our next presenter is Cameron. Cameron's project is Capstone Festival website.
Hello everyone, can you hear me all right? Okay, my name is Cameron Koza, and I made the 2016 Spring Capstone Festival website. I had Kevin Cahill as both my mentor and my client for this. So the main problem with the previous year's websites were that there wasn't so much of the work that the students put into this. There's a lot of effort and just work in general that was sort of almost overlooked in the previous ones. So we wanted to really showcase that. Our solution was to communicate the progress from start to finish, not only within the sculpting and design, but also in the Capstone process itself. Here's an example. This is the homepage here. You can scroll through each project. Clicking on them results in your showing the process of it. I'm going to show you Brittany Darnell's. She did a great job. So you can scroll through each section, read about it, learn about each thing, then see the final results of their efforts. My process started with sketching in Illustrator and some other tools. I actually didn't do anything by hand this time around. After doing some sketching and collaborating with other teammates and my client mentor, we came up with some newer or preliminary designs, and that was then tested and then changed until we had our final product. I hand-coded this whole thing using PHP, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, MySQL. PHP and MySQL handled the dynamic nature of all this stuff. Each of the students, with the exception of a few, uploaded all their own work, and it was displayed dynamically that way. The JavaScript, HTML, CSS, made it look good and, you know, fun to use. I learned a lot about the dynamic web page creation. It was pretty challenging. I learned a lot from Miguel Lara's class, actually, in CST 352. Took a lot from that. That was one of my favorite courses here. Styling this thing was actually probably one of the biggest challenges, as getting all of the pieces to move together and work well and look right was a lot of work. Time management was huge too. I actually started this project about a month and a half early, and that allowed me to spread out the workload throughout the whole semester, and that was really big. So thank you for listening to me talk about this, and you can come see me and learn more about it in next door.
Quick question for you. So the site looks awesome.
Sure.
As part of the design process, did you build in any testing for accessibility? So maybe people that can't see very well have to use screen readers or something like that.
No, that actually was not considered, unfortunately. I suppose that could be built in maybe with some audio cues or something like that. Yeah, maybe future renditions, we could add something like that.
No, thank you. Thank you. The next project is the smartphone game controller team.
Hello. Hello, everybody. We are Team Smartphone Game Controller, and we created a two-part Android app called UControl for controlling your software. So our team is Selena Soto over here, Sean Gardner, Ryan Hume, and myself, Joshua Quinn. And hopefully our client/mentor, Christoph, is back there somewhere. He helped us walk through this whole process. The motivation for our project is control. These days, there's a lot of new technologies out there, such as VR, augmented reality, personal gaming, and the Internet of Things, and they don't have that many customizable control systems. So we decided to create a process for allowing people to customize how they interact with their software.
So our motivation for this project was to create an Android universal game controller that worked with any Windows PC with Bluetooth built in right out of the box. We hoped to make this controller super easy to use, as if you can just pick it up today and start using it. So the approach we used for this project was the Agile software development methodology. We used Trello to keep track of the entire progress of the project, and also our teammates' progress as well.
Okay. I'm helping a lot of people all at the same time, so it's kind of hard for me.
And on your right,
I'm doing my best though. Okay? Right, so this one, what number is that?
I work in the
68.
Android Studio and Visual Studio to create the various apps on the various platforms on Android and Windows. And finally, we leveraged Photoshop and Illustrator to create the assets we needed on the control application.
Okay, we have two major components to our app. One is for a Windows PC, and the other is for a smartphone. We use the smartphone to send inputs to your computer using Bluetooth, and we use VJoy to simulate these inputs into game controls. So then you can use your phone to control the game.
So I'm a huge gamer, and I wanted to mimic what you see on your everyday controller. And so we have the buttons on the right, and we have a joystick on the left, and that is what we wanted to create, a simplistic game controller. And we also have a settings button that goes to this layout. And basically what we wanted is the player can customize their controller. So we can control the positions, we can switch between, we can switch the buttons around. We can switch from joystick to D-pad. We can change the size of the button, the style. Well, what we really want it to is get the size of the button and the style to change. We wanted to change the background so that we can have different actual designs, because often you don't get to change your controller. So for future work, we would like to add a QR code for the Play Store, and also Gear VR support, because honestly that is something that is becoming very big these days, and having controller support would be great. Also console support. So how many of you have kids who game, or you are a gamer? Right. Okay. It's expensive. So controllers cost a lot of money. I have 3 sisters, and we fight over controllers. Yeah, that's $60 a pop for a controller. So, and also on top of that, you can't customize it. And if you do, it costs money out of your own pocket. You just come with one game controller when you buy your console, and you just need to buy more. So what if you have this app? It'll just cost you no money. It will cost you no money, so it's cost efficient, and it's very accessible. So that is what we want. We want console support because, you know, everybody would like to play with their friends and not spend that $60. We would also like to have multiple controllers. So right now we can only have one player with the app itself. We would like to have more phones added. So that's basically what we want.
We would like to thank Christoph for proposing this project and allowing us to do it. We would like to thank Satya for giving us the opportunity to do this project, and we'd like to thank Alex for giving us help. And if you want to demo our product, it's right outside next to the concession stand. And any questions?
So my question is that how soon can we use it and download from the Android, and how reliable is the software?
So right now the software is actually pretty reliable. We've got a prototype out. We haven't put it on the App Store just yet, but we're working on it. We do want it on the App Store. So
That will be the first customer.
You got it. Yes.
Is that a way to change the button layout? Is there any way to change the sensitivity of the buttons for games like shooters and stuff? We want higher sensitivity for joystick.
You mean like
yeah, like for example, increasing like mouse DPI or something like that, so we could have more sensitive controls.
That's a good idea. We could definitely put that in the settings. That's fairly trivial to change, but we could do that. Yes. Yes.
So how do I end up using this account? Yeah, it's like a plug-and-play support or how do I use it?
So the idea is on your PC, you're going to have to download a separate program. We hope in a future version to have the program come with the Android app, so it just installs on your PC or works natively using Bluetooth and USB APIs. But at the moment, what we have is we have a separate computer program that you download and install. It's very quick, very small, very lightweight, and you connect by Bluetooth with just one button and connect the app. Pretty simple. Yes?
What kind of battery usage does it have? Like, does it eat up a lot of battery or what?
We actually haven't tested battery usage yet, but it shouldn't eat it very much because Bluetooth is fairly efficient and the program is very lightweight. There's not much to it. Yes?
Are there other competitive products out on the App Store already that look like this?
There are actually some competitive products out there, but most of them don't do what ours does. So they don't have the customization that we have. Most competitive products are very simple. You just have one layout. The main feature of ours that we're working in is that we want to have the ability to change button layouts and stick controls. You can swap the sides. You can have different kinds of layouts, whatever you want. Yes?
Well, it's a great project, and I definitely want to kind of congratulate Josh and Brian. They also are part of the team to win the fish hackathon in the aquarium. Be downstairs, very Berkeley, and win the top prize.
Our next project is the mobile color game by Brian.
Good morning, you guys. I'm the last one, so thanks for dealing with all of us. We're almost there. My name is Brian Lenoir. I worked with Pat Watson over here, who was my client and advisor to make a mobile color theory game called Houston, which a lot of people thought it was a Texas game, but it's actually a space-themed game. So for the overview, Houston is going to be a mobile game that combines 3D objects within the player's physical world using augmented reality. Gameplay focuses on teaching color theory and testing users' knowledge on it. So I hope most of you designers in here know what color theory is. For those of you who don't, color theory is a set of principles on how you mix color and how color is used together within different compositions. And color is so important in design because it represents emotions, balance, contrast. It's color theory that the Emerald City and the Yellow Brick Road wouldn't feel the same if Wizard of Oz was in black and white, or it's thanks to color theory why Luke Skywalker's lightsaber is green and Darth Vader's is red. There's all different meanings behind these different color usages. So the problem was Pat Watson, head of interactive media and game design, wanted a new and engaging way to teach color theory to prospective game designers and test to make sure they know what they're doing, because color theory within game design is just as important as in visual design. My solution was to create an iPhone game. I'm still working on the iPad version, it's almost there. Was to use augmented reality. And I thought I would use augmented reality. For those of you who don't know, that's when 3D objects are superimposed within your camera's view, and it uses an image tracker to work together in a similar composition to where you can interact with the 3D space and it follows around the image tracking. And the game does follow a computer simulation type of feel, so I felt like the augmented reality really fit with that theme. As you can see by the methodology, my research, when I Google augmented reality, it's still a pretty new thing that has been used a lot. So what I noticed was IKEA actually uses this. You can download, I believe, their app, and what they do is they can place furniture within your house if you follow your camera around, and you can see how the different furniture will interact with different lighting and colors. My sketches, I just did one big giant sketch with an idea of how the logics of the programming will work and kind of how I wanted the views to look within your camera. The design development, you can just see a little bit of an example of me 3D rendering a spaceship. I did use the same model for all the spaceships, just with different colors. And the final design, that's kind of a composite idea of you can see a planet floating above your desk and the ships coming in a full spherical spawning rate. The tools I used, Blender is a 3D modeling program, and that's what I mostly used for just a simple 3D modeling. I really only had to do a few different planets and spaceships, so Blender was really helpful with that. Unity is the biggest tool I used. That's a game engine. What I was able to bring in a script extension called Euphoria from Qualcomm, which is how I got the augmented reality. Photoshop was used for just most of the design parts, so the background for this presentation, which is also completely used for my poster. And because it's an image tracker, the user does have to download a PDF that has the game's instructions and a special image. So I did create, using Dreamweaver, a website where it will link to the game when it's live on the App Store, and it links to that PDF for them to download it. So what I learned in this was definitely time management skills. I think I underestimated this project and how much time it would actually take me. I did get it signed off a few days ago from Pat. It was the very last minute and trying to get it all working together for the presentation. I didn't have a lot of experience with 3D modeling, so kind of the simple low polygon style really helped me get into more of the advanced modeling. There was a lot of different languages I used for the programming, C# mostly within Unity, which is what the game is made in, HTML and CSS for the website development, and there's a little bit of Swift, which is what's used in Xcode to finally compile it into the iPhone. And of course, it followed the iterative game design process, which is a lot of trial and error, quick play testing, and making sure that it actually worked. So I know a game's not a lot if you guys don't know what it actually looks like. So because the game's not on the App Store yet, I did put together almost a trailer for you guys. Also, as kind of a thank you for dealing with my presentation. So I have that up on YouTube, and here is to give you a better idea of what the game will look like.
to the home of the Outer United States Training Organization, more commonly known as Houston. Since the discovery of life beyond our system, it became our mission to protect and serve these occupied planets. A unanimous vote from the United Nations allowed us to use force against potential threats. Let us take a look at our own Earth, for example. In these training simulations, your mission is to monitor incoming ships. It is up to you to figure out which colors are friendly and which are hostile. Get ready to launch in 3, 2, 1.
And to command center, do you copy? This is command center. Over. Houston, we have a backup.
So thank you, and I'd like to open the floor for any questions. Jerry? Oh, forgot to stop the YouTube. That wasn't my video.
My question was, as you're developing the game, have you considered for future versions applying virtual reality Oculus chip?
I would definitely want to, yeah. That's not a technology I've had access to or been able to work with, but there's a lot of changes I do want to make to the game. One of them being adding the Oculus Rift kind of style to it. Also, color theory is a whole different thing when maybe the user is colorblind. They have different perceptions of color, so I definitely want to make different versions of that to help them. As well as right now, I'm kind of working on making an iPad version as well, so I know you could use it because you rely on your iPad. Awesome. I encourage you guys to see me in the room next door for 105. Thank you.
Thank you very much, all the presenters. And I see a few more faculty walked in. I want them to be recognized. First of all, Professor Christoph Pieszczuk. I always have problems. Can you raise your hand? Professor Glenn Bruns. I saw him earlier. We also have our retired dean, Marcia Moreau, here with us. And also our current interim dean, Sharon Anderson. Thank you for all of your support. And there is one thing we cannot forget is the people who are supporting us and giving us projects and mentoring our students. So I would like all the industry mentors and the clients who gave us projects to stand up and be recognized. Thank you very much. First of all, we really want to thank for you being brave enough to give your projects to our students. Second, we want to thank for your patience, being patient in guiding our students throughout the process. And third, for being or trusting our students throughout the process as well. So it's very important for us, and hopefully our students did a good job so you can come back to give us more projects for future students. As you see that we presented 3 computer science projects and 3 communication design projects, and those were voted by our own students, by 95 students who voted which projects should be presented during the plenary session. And also those will be, these 6 projects will be awarded. And I would like to invite their Capstone instructor, and if the industry partner or industry mentor is here, you also want to come up and be recognized, and we would like to take a picture. So the first team is, where is Carrie? If the 4 people who work on this come up here. Please stand there. Camera is taking picture, so.
There's like 100 here.
It's okay if I'm not on the picture. Got it? We have Photoshops.
Okay, thank you. Second team is the big data tools team.
Very good? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next one is the smartphone game controller team. Thank you.
It's customary to always say that it was very difficult to choose the best project. It really was true in this case, not just because the other projects are all good, which they are, and they are going to be in parallel sessions after this, but they were very different, right? Like we were comparing apples and oranges and grapes and pineapples, and then we are picking like kind of 3 to show the spread, the kind of the breadth of the project. So I would really encourage everybody to go to the next sessions to see the other projects, which there are like some really good projects there, which you shouldn't miss out. So please attend the next sessions.
Due to the limited time, we only printed 1 certificate for each team, but we would like to give 1 certificate for each of you. So if you can stop by the front office this afternoon, you could get your own individual certificate for the team project. The next one, we have 3 outstanding projects for the communication design. The first one is visual design, is presented to Cassandra. Bobby here, Bobby Long. Yeah, so if we have the industry partner. Yeah. Thank you. And the best web design capstone goes to Cameron Colza. And the best game design and interactive media capstone goes to Brian Lanor. So next, we are going to distribute into 5 rooms, including this one. Computer science projects will be presented here in room 113. Communication design presentations will be in room 110, 111, and 112. And starting 10:30, we'll have the poster session. Thank you very, very much, everyone. Friends, families, faculty, students. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the day. Okay.